Have you ever been drawn to or felt like you've had a past life in Egypt? If you love Egyptian things or just are drawn to visit there, you might have. Hi, I'm Karen Kubicko, and today I have some examples of some people who've remembered some past lives in Egypt. My first example is a woman who came to me for a past life regression. She really didn't have a specific intent, but she went right into a past lifetime. In the past life that came up for her, she was in Egypt, and she prayed to Ra, which was a sun god in that past lifetime. She was very passionate about praising Ra and spoke about it quite a bit in her past life regression experience. In this ancient Egyptian time, she would collect bowls of sand or dirt, and she used them to help her with healing. She would really connect in with the ley lines or the meridian lines, which are energy. It's kind of hard to explain in this short video, but ley lines or meridian lines are kind of like energetic lines that flow across our earth, and they cross over each other in different directions and places. In fact, side note, churches and things like that are built where these ley lines crisscross because it's a highly energized place. But back in this lifetime in ancient Egypt, this woman was able to remember that she very much connected to these ley lines and would stand on them and then really connect in through her feet, like really ground into that energy, and was able to work with it in a very healing kind of way. When she would connect to these ley lines, that healing energy that would be connected through her feet, that was what she would use to help heal somebody, to provide energy to them. Maybe they had been very depleted because of an illness, and she would tap into that kind of like a conduit and provide that healing energy to that person to help them in some kind of way. She used those bowls of sand as part of the ritual to help these people. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. In the next example, I had a female come to me. She had a fear of snakes, and she had no idea where that stemmed from, but she couldn't even watch TV when a snake would be on the television. She was that afraid. It would freak her out. So she came to me for a past life regression. She could not figure out anything connected to it in this current lifetime. She went back to a lifetime in ancient Egypt. In that past lifetime, she was an Egyptian priestess, and she had a very large, yellow, long, thick snake that she would have draped around her shoulders. And she loved that thing. She did everything with that snake. It was like her very best friend. And, it was so important to her, this snake, that connection. They helped her do whatever it is that she did in that past lifetime. She was a priestess in that lifetime and prayed to Sekhmet. Sekhmet is an ancient Egyptian goddess, and part of her connection to Sekhmet was praying to her and honoring the knowledge that Sekhmet would provide to her. But as she went through her daily life, doing what she did as a priestess, she would have this snake wrapped around her, took that snake everywhere with her. But the fear of snakes happened because of how she passed in that lifetime. First of all, somebody wasn't happy with her and how she did healing or something like that. It was fear-based trauma of some kind. And unbeknownst to her, someone killed her snake. They poisoned it. And it was very traumatic for her. So that grief and that sadness became part of the fear of snakes in this current lifetime. However, it didn't end there. Whoever was attacking her in some kind of way, they actually stuck her in a pit of snakes, and that's how she died. Not only did they kill the snake that she loved, but they put her in this, it's kind of like this pit of these black snakes in ancient times in Egypt. I'm not sure what they're called, any of them, but she was left there for dead and died of snake bites and their venom and whatnot. I mean, it was a pretty traumatic death because it didn't feel quick. but that's directly connected to her fear of snakes in this current lifetime. So we were able to forgive herself, forgive the people who harmed her pet snake in that lifetime, forgive all those snakes. They didn't know that they were doing something wrong. They were probably out of fear themselves, lashing out in that kind of way. And so that was all resolved for that woman, who I've met recently actually again, and she's like, wow, I'm not as afraid of snakes as I used to be. But compared to before, she had remembered that past lifetime, and now it's markedly different. So she's improved with that fear. I had a man come to me for a past life regression. He just wanted to see what would come up for him and maybe find out any talents or skills he might have had in a past lifetime. He remembered a lifetime in ancient Egypt where he was an artist, but specifically an artist to paint the hieroglyphics, which was highly specialized. Painting hieroglyphics was like an honor. You had to be well trained, and it was something just not anybody could go do. Writing was a very specialized, important task or job back in those days, but he painted the hieroglyphics, and they had to be done a very specific way so that that communication was clear without any doubts. In his memory of that past lifetime, he actually remembered painting a very specific black bird as part of the hieroglyphics, and then he was tutoring or training like an apprentice of someone who was going to then help him or work along his side in painting the hieroglyphics, how to specifically paint this black bird on a hieroglyphic. He was very knowledgeable about hieroglyphics and studied that a lot back in that lifetime. And so he felt a lot of pride for that knowledge and to share that knowledge, to teach others, and was constantly delving in to learn more about how to better improve his skills to make sure what was being done, painted, carved, was accurate in a lot of ways. When I asked him what year it was in that past life in Egypt, he said, it's about 500 years into the prosperous time of ancient Egyptian times. So I thought that was kind of an interesting way to answer that question. I mean, our dates aren't the same, right? From back then till right now. So it's hard to just know what date it is sometimes. And if you'd like to remember a past lifetime in ancient Egypt or wherever your spirit guides guide you to go, make sure you stay to the end for a link to a guided meditation to help you remember a past life. Lots of love and light to you.